and pretend podcasting isn't boring.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Juan Around Talks and Thoughts. Today I'm going to talk with a very good friend of mine, Jess Wright. I met her in Poland and she's very aware of the global problems that we face, particularly related to global warming. So today I'm going to talk with her about not only global warming, but what Greta Thunberg means to the society, how to become vegan or what does that mean in these societies, and what are the possible solutions to global warming. I hope you enjoy it.
Somehow I'm flipping it. I don't know. How are you?
And I see your bed and you have some paintings there, nice paintings.
Well, you could have a tour of them.
Oh, that's so cool. Did you paint that one? The one with the arrow?
I painted this guy.
Oh, that's also cool.
Like this one is very cool, and I love it a lot.
Yeah, all the
flowers. These are my inspirations for the season. Well, now we are past it, but
yeah.
Yeah. This is Homeland, and this is garden.
Oh, did you design that garden?
I did, and I am its caretaker. This is my mother's house, and really where I grew up, and anyway, that has been a project, and I still don't know how to turn you around. Hold on one second.
It looks amazing. It looks a really nice garden. Looks really cool.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
yeah, tell me.
To turn it on. Okay. Now okay.
Okay, so let's just start. Why do you hate Greta?
Why do I hate her?
Yeah, you told me before, right? Like she shouldn't exist.
Well, I don't agree that she should not exist at all. I do believe she should exist, because she is an amazing human. But yes, I don't believe that she should have to be becoming, or not becoming, she already is an environmental activist at her young age, because she is seeing the reality of our climate crisis in front of us, and that there should not have to be young people saying fight for our lives, because it doesn't. People aren't.
Now, I like to read a lot of about psychology, stuff like that. And some people say that like great people are born into like either tragedy or a problem, or they just don't fit into some place. And some detractors of Greta says, the thing is that it's just like a messed up kid that she was looking for a way to, to do something with her life. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think that she's just a person that has a lot of heart and care, and is just takes reality for what it is, and some people, it's wonderful that she got a voice, because I'm sure there are lots of people like her too, but I think she just sees what is happening and can't keep quiet about it, and knows that she must do something about it, whatever that is, as a young person, and thankfully she's been given a bigger platform to help and like point to the science that needs to be paid attention to, but yeah, I think she's just a person who truly cares and will fight against the naysayers and people that are being ridiculous, judging her and coming up with all these strange theories about her. I mean, it's just all like beyond ridiculous, I think. And doesn't deserve any of that. But I love that it doesn't stop her, and it's still, you know, the larger truth is guiding her, and that's what she cares about. And
but do you think that if she could have like a normal childhood, do you think that she will eventually went there, like to that kind of like the protest and everything, or it was the fact that she was struggling with her life that makes her go into that?
Not necessarily. I mean, I could see that we all want to have purpose in our life. I think every human is born with a desire to have purpose, and we don't, or, you know, and as children, you're gaining that. You don't even have a sense of that quite yet. You just want to be recognized and, you know that you exist in the world. But as you grow older, you kind of take that on more as like a purpose in life. But I mean, I think that can cause someone to, you know, maybe she's more thoughtful and had more time to herself because of her challenges and, you know, with social world and whatnot. But, and I think that helps people get, you know, what do I want to say? That it just helps them go inward earlier in life, and it's that thoughtfulness that can, you know, bring about your caring. But I think that people that are, you know, have it maybe easier and, you know, don't have the troubles or challenges that she had, but everyone has their own anyways. But even if someone had a really easy thing going, but they learn what the reality is and have a very caring heart, that I think that they could be, you know, do the same thing.
It looks like there is like some sort of like a sweet spot, because like people that are struggling like a really hard struggle, like for example to get food or stuff like that, like their priorities is that. And people that are in the other side, they just don't care, or they care only about themselves and stuff like that. And there are like a point in which like leaders are born, like in a point where you can see the people below you and you can see the people above you. I don't know, it's very interesting, but most of the people are in kind of in the middle. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And
now,
just,
but do you think she's? There is something that it's a little bit troubling for me. Like when I heard her speech, like it come across to me like a very emotional person, and I don't know if we need a very emotional person to deal with a global problem that could destroy humanity.
Well, yeah, I mean, my response to that is that, one, she didn't even choose to have this role. She was just doing her climate strike, and everyone sort of given her this larger platform, and now that she has it, she's making use of it and you know, talking where she can, and so that, you know, she isn't priming herself to be any certain way other than honest and well, actually, I think it's her emotional side that really has helped fire up other people. I mean, when you hear someone talk about the problems that are coming for us in very scientific speech, it's easy to like tune out and this problem's coming, but there's always problems, and it's just another thing. But when you hear and see someone that it shows pardon me how scary and intense and big it is to her, and I think it makes other people think, whoa, this maybe is more scary and big and intense than I thought, and maybe I should be paying attention more. And so I think that her her sharing of her emotions is actually important. I will say that I am someone who does find more, if someone shares their emotions with me while they're telling me something, I'm more likely to listen. I don't know that everyone, I know that not everyone's that way, but I know that about myself, so I might have a biased opinion. But I honestly think it's beneficial that she's willing to be vulnerable in that way. And again, she didn't choose the position. She's just got it now, and that's who she is. And so,
yeah. The thing is that actually recently I was reading a book called Behave, a very nice book, and they were explaining that there is like a lot of difference between the adolescent brain and the mature brain. Mm-hmm. And apparently the adolescent brain, I mean, of course I'm not saying it like word by word, but they're saying that they use like the amygdala to making decisions instead of another area that is more rational, and that makes them like really passionate, and they makes them trying to really be make justice. But it turns out, like really, that's what the book says. I don't know. It turns out that apparently the more they're trying to do the right thing, the worse they do for the planet. Like, I swear to you, it's not me. Like, it's what the book was saying. Like, the thing is that they are more like willing to take risks that they don't evaluate properly, something like that. Like when they use that part of the brain. I don't know. What do you think about that?
They are saying, I guess, but okay. In the book, they are also saying that because of this, they are hurting their own movement. Is that what you're saying?
No, the thing is that in the book, what they are explaining is that adolescents make, how can I say it, decisions that look honorable. And they are very honorable, more honorable than adults. But the thing is that honor is based on a calculation that is very limited. So that calculation, for example, if they were equations, they take like 1, 2, 3 variables. And the more you grow up, you take in considerations more and more and more variables. And sometimes the decision that looks, that is not the more honorable, once you take all the variables, it turns out that it makes better results, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, and I don't know if the reason I bring this is that there is a saying in Mexico that is the hell is full of people with good intentions, something like that. And I don't know if her good intentions. The thing is that I understand that she reads the literature. Like, I understand that. What I don't know is the people that follow her understand the literature or just follow her. And I don't know how many politicians that create laws consider the literature, even if they consider Greta, or if they consider a bunch of 1 or 2 million of people that they are protesting about something, and they just listen to these people, and the solutions could be a little bit like not the best. My point with this about Greta is that I think we should value a lot more the scientists themselves. And I don't see people saying, hey, this is my hero. Who? This guy that is doing the research. No, they see Greta. And I don't know if it's the best.
Well, I guess in my opinion, what is it hurting? I mean, okay, well, I'll answer that in a couple of things, but just to get people caring and paying attention, I feel like that's what her largest impact has been, to care and to pay attention and to there is a climate crisis. This, I feel, is her biggest impact among the masses of people. Whether or not people are really looking into the science, that is an interesting question, and it's really hard to say. But I think there's nothing wrong at all with just at least getting people to pay attention. I mean, I don't feel she's really, she's the science that she's pointing to, good science, what they're calling for to do, seems like, a multi, what do I want to say? Not multi-step approach, but just considering the many variables. And so I feel the only thing she's pointing to is stuff that is solid and helpful and the best that we have. And then if, politicians are making choices or coming up with policies that, aren't rooted in research and science, I guess that just, that is not a very great leader, because that's the only way one should really come up with policies and things like that. To just, do it on a whim, there's no sense in that, and that's just not the sign of a good leader, and I don't know. And then again, we are all responsible for the leaders that we have. If we want good leaders, we all have to be voting. And
who do you think is going to win?
Biden. You mean over here?
Yes.
Yes. He has to, so he's going to.
But some people says that he's a little bit crazy, he doesn't make sense or stuff like that. I was hearing some articles about that I was reading. Is it true?
Makes more sense than Trump has ever made from very, very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that he is, I know that he is not a lot of people's top pick, but I think actually he is probably a good portion of people's top pick. But I feel the great thing with him is just that he seems willing to reach out to people around him that are educated on different topics and to utilize their knowledge and education and so someone who is willing to do that and respectful of people, I think, will take us.
I don't understand why Bernie didn't continue. And actually, he was a little bit more concerned about the environment, right? More focused.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he didn't continue.
Well, it just through the primaries, it was looking really pretty much impossible for him to win, and Biden it was very shocking because it seemed like he was not going to do well at all from the beginning. He seemed in the debates and stuff just not the strongest candidate, but somehow it just turned around for him. It was very weird to kind of watch it, but yeah, and it was very sad for Bernie to pull out, but I think everyone is just united that, what it takes to defeat the person in there now is necessary, and if the people are leaning towards Biden, like to just not leaning, like kind of strongly showing up for him, then we've got to just get on board and get moving. And
Now, when we talked before, one of your ideas for solutions related global warming was to pick up the right government. Do you believe that you have like solid options, at least in the United States? Like it's not that you are deciding between two amazing people. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, currently we have a really sad, the leaders now are just, I mean, not everyone, but the majority, party is just, going backwards on everything with, I mean, like I was mentioning before, like our Clean Water and Air Acts and things like this that made such huge improvements. They are like trying to pull them apart and just, oh my gosh, it's just ridiculous. Every single step is like anti-environment and anti-people in my mind too. I mean, really, it's very hard to find good things that are being done, in my opinion. But
what do you think are the solutions? Like if you were the president, what would you do?
That's a very big question. Well, I think the very first thing is, like I was just mentioning, like pulling in the people that are the most educated on the subject, the various scientists, pulling them in and gaining their, input and trying to, develop policies and whatnot to support what they say we must do, and that is to reduce our emissions by half. I think by 2030 is what they're saying on a global scale. So this again requires international cooperation, but anyways, just even for our own country. But yeah, dropping the emissions, and that is pulling from a lot of different things, from technology to make things more efficient, investing in the research and the work to make things more efficient, that the mechanisms that we do use, and to encourage less use in the first place of energy. I mean, I think that is an important part, and maybe one of the harder or stranger parts for people, the idea to like be limited or controlled or something. But I think really is worth exploring and necessary to, just everything from what we buy to where we go and what we eat. Like, we're just living like it'll last forever, and well, not everybody, but anyways, the most of people, and to just be too, getting lost in my thoughts. But if like the government was regulating, or maybe regulating is the wrong word, but even like with the subsidies for meat and dairy and the subsidies for oil, like those industries are getting tons of money from our government, basically supporting them, and that makes the food and the oil and all of this cheaper, and so it makes it so people can, buy it easily. If they weren't subsidizing those things, which is an easy thing to do, that would, yes, increase the cost, and that could make things difficult for people. So we can't just like do that without having like renewables and, infrastructure for renewable energy and like all other alternatives for food and things like in the works. Like we can't just, like the worst thing we can do is just switch everything in a way that makes more poverty and, more difficulty for people, because we need everyone on board, and if people are feeling in lack, or like they've been mistreated, they aren't going to be jumping on board for how can we help the environment. So government supporting renewable energy projects and sustainable development and stopping subsidizing harmful industries.
But what do you think the people that every day need to buy milk, they need to buy meat, and if it's more expensive and they have a low income, like what we can do with that people to get food?
Yeah. Well, I think in that part, I don't have a great answer prepared in my mind, but I feel like that's something that we have to work towards through public education, and I think the government can support even subsidies. I was reading about what subsidies go where, and in agriculture, like vegetables have like this tiny percentage, like less than 1%, I think, of all the subsidies that go to agriculture, and so if vegetables were less cost, and maybe that should include grains and things, but basically it would require people changing diets, and I know that's not an easy thing to do, and maybe that's like
you never eat meat in your life?
What?
Did you ever eat meat?
Oh yeah. No, I ate a lot of meat as a young person, and
you didn't miss it? You don't miss it? Bacon?
No, I really don't, actually. I mean, like...
With pancakes, pancakes.
I can still have pancakes, and I am looking forward to trying eggplant bacon soon. Bacon. You look like bacon.
That sounds so horrible.
I do not miss it, but I personally I come from the idea of more the animal welfare that makes me not interested in eating meat. So for me, like, I will just, like, maybe it's the more immediate thing. Long term, not good for the environment, and that's a motivating force for sure for, like, continuing, but it's thinking of the animals in the first place and what they live through to be my food that just makes me not interested. And maybe something can smell good for like the first second, and when I'm remembering like the taste and eating from before, and then I think, that poor animal, and
don't
it's
think
just
about
like
that.
I don't have
just eat it.
No, I just don't want to. It makes me sad.
Okay, well, I remember that there were some people saying, I would love to eat meat if they were coming from a farm where they treat good the animals, they are treated good and stuff like that. What do you think about?
Oh, well, that's what I was doing for a bit, and that felt like a better option. I know it's always a lot more expensive, or at least generally is, so that makes it more difficult for people. And also, it's just a lot harder to find. It's like the fancier, more expensive stores that you're more likely to find it. But, I mean, obviously that's a better choice if possible. But in my mind, the animal still has to die for me. And I mean, I will say that I am a person that loves vegetables, and I, like a variety of food, so it's not hard for me. I think, that, well, like I will acknowledge that for me it was a lot easier, I think, because I could transition to other foods and I have interest in like, oh, this is fun to see how I can make this taste delicious and fool people that like think it must have some dairy in it to be tasty, and it still can be tasty.
I mean,
But yeah.
I think it has to do also like how well people prepare the vegetables. When I was in Denmark, there was this woman that really prepared the vegetables so good that I didn't miss meat.
Yeah.
The argument about this idea of happy cows and happy, I really don't understand. It's kind of like, so you have an animal that has a beautiful life and says like, yeah, that one, I want to kill that one. Not the sad cow that she needs to be put out of her misery. No. I want the happy cow, the one that loves life, to be killed, and I can eat that one. I don't understand that kind of ethics. Why don't you eat the ones that are in bad condition, so you put them out of their misery?
Because as soon as you eat that one, another one has to live that suffering life, because they're going to replace that cow. So the more you eat of it, the more, it would just be replaced with another cow that lives the same.
Now, there was a book I read a lot of time ago. It's called Life 3.0, and they talk about a lot of evolution, and they were saying, in evolutionary perspective, evolution doesn't care about the quality of life. They care about the quantity of life. And in that point, we are actually serving these animals, like farm animals, to multiply in an exponential rate that they weren't able to do it before. So in a sense, like, without us eating that cow and killing that cow wouldn't exist in the first place. Would be less cows, so she wouldn't have even life in the first place. What do you think about that?
I think an animal living solely because it's going to be our food someday is not a reason to say. I just don't understand. Well, I don't agree with that argument or the thinking of that, even, because, like, of course there could be many things alive or many things not alive, or nature has a mystery of her own, but yeah, just saying that, well, those cows wouldn't exist and the chickens wouldn't exist, and they wouldn't, and they also wouldn't have to die for our food. So move on.
But everybody dies. Everything dies. Everything dies sooner or later.
It's true, and for a long time for me, I kind of wrestled with the idea of eating meat or not, and for a while I decided, well, if I couldn't kill the animal, then I shouldn't eat the meat. Like, I should be able to do it myself. And I watched my boyfriend at the time kill a rabbit, and he cooked it, and
a rabbit, that's mean. Rabbits are cute.
Yeah, well, it was the only wild animal going around, and he was considering these thoughts too. And it was like one of the worst meals of my life. I did not like it. And I mean, I've eaten fish that I've caught and stuff, but I think we connect to fish less strong or something because they appear so different from us, I think. But I mean, it's like
if you look different like me, then I can eat you. But if you look a little bit cuter, then I have doubts about killing you. That's so sad.
But really, maybe not totally true, because pigs and cows are not kids, but pigs and cows are very cute, and people are eating them all the time. But I mean, I
mean,
just want
if
to say
God
that I
exists
don't.
or whatever, like he made pigs too delicious. Like you cannot waste anything from the pig. It's just like it's just delicious. Like really, pancakes without bacon. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far.
Well, and I think I do feel it's important. Everybody makes like the food choice on their own, which can be in contrast to what I just said about government having something to do with it. But I mean, I think it is a very sticky topic. Food is it is our life. I mean, it is what sustains us, and so it's hugely important to people. And I do think that it needs to be people's will to not eat them or eat animals.
And what about protein? Where are we going to get protein?
There are so many food sources or plant sources of protein.
But not as accessible as meat. Like meat has 40 grams of protein, and for that you need to eat a lot of broccoli or sun seeds
pumpkin
or
seeds. Yeah. But you don't even need as much protein as we are told that we need. As far as what I have read about, it's like that's been a whole nother. People are wanting to redo the food pyramid. I don't know if that's something you are familiar with, or if that's
yes,
more.
I'm familiar with the food pyramid.
I mean, I don't know if it's probably
it's so
different
humiliating. Yes.
But
yes, I'm familiar with that concept.
That the food pyramid is everywhere, because people here are just saying it really needs to be redone, and that it's been influenced by the industries here about how much milk we need and how much protein we need and meat and
if that were the case, I will give you an argument against that. As we were talking before, I was reading books about evolution. I've been reading a lot about that. There was one called Sapiens. It's a really nice book, and I think it's very popular. They were explaining that when we were nomads and we were going around picking stuff from the trees and hunting, we had a lot better diet, better bodies, we were smarter, we were a lot better. And in the point that we start to produce our own food and become sedentary, our lifestyle went way down, and we went in some sort of rabbit hole that when they wanted to go back to their own life, they were so invested into it that they didn't have other way but to continue. They couldn't go back. And in that point, my point is that when you are nomad, you don't have all these vegetables. And if we need to rethink the pyramid because it wasn't the normal human state, then also all the vegetables that we grew, because even there were some vegetables that they were savage, they weren't the way they are now. We do some progress and we kind of modify it little by little until they become what they are now. So if we want to go back, how back we need to go back, what modification we need to do. And if we really want to go to the source, it will be mostly hunting and being picking stuff from the trees, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well, here in California, the people were hugely sustained from acorns from oak trees, and I mean, there are lots of seeds that people ate, mush type things with, ground up seeds much is the wrong word, but and I mean, it's amazing. I've become very interested in learning about the native plants here, and I mean, almost, I don't know how many, like the percentage of what is edible, but it's really crazy to learn how many have edible parts, either roots or berries or leaves. And so anyways, it's, I think, unrealistic, and we can't just go raid the wild lands because we've sort of used a lot of them up, and now those are limited, and we have to protect them, but we can grow plants in our yard. And
the reason I bring this is that I just see a tendency to try to go back to previous ways, and it's just, I mean, it's very attractive. Like I really understand why it's so attractive. Like I understand the value of it. I just don't think we are going that way. The thing is that I see two possible, like, future, sustainable futures, and both are nice in their own way, and, you know, reducing the emissions and going back, and it looks nice. Like, I can see people like having their own farms and stuff like that, but as you mentioned to me before, like, we don't have like enough land to do that. So the other option is go even way more back and just like traveling around, I don't know, like gypsies and stuff like that. I have no idea. Or go to the future and try to improve our life through technology, as we were talking before.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's possible to have them both. What do you think?
I think so. I think we can learn a lot from the past, and that can help inform us of what we want to bring into the future. And maybe right now we've forgotten, or, you know, on a large scale, we've forgotten a lot of, you know, what was useful to our ancestors as far as food and not wasting, and just requiring less. I mean, those are like basic things that would actually help us out a lot. And I know in a lot of places that is the mentality I feel in this country, and I know in a lot of other places. It's like the wealth that has acquired over time, I feel, has allowed us to become more wasteful with everything we do in life, and we just use more than we need. But I do think that technology is a huge but a huge part of you know, combating climate change and helping us secure a better future. And, you know, people having some really neat ideas around, like vertical vegetable gardening in cities and things. And some of it sounds just kind of dreamy, but really they could be realities, and we need to consider all the options. I think we shouldn't throw anything out, and you know, just consider.
The thing is that I also I see, like one future having like farms and maybe happy animals, maybe not animals, maybe all of them are like all the people become vegan, which, by the way, is not something that we used to be in the past. So I don't know. It's weird because like I want to go to the past but not eat the animals, so it's a little bit weird.
And even if we weren't eating them on a huge scale, it would change everything about. I mean, then it would be just a moral choice, and it would be morally okay for some and morally not. And that's just.
Don't you think that is a little bit like arrogant from for humans? I mean, it has valuable, but don't you think it's a little bit arrogant? It's like, okay, the crocodile eats meat, the lion eats meat, all of those eats meat, but me, no, I'm different. I'm not just like an ordinary animal. I'm superior, I'm better. So I need to make decisions based on this and not in my nature. And our nature it has become through evolution to be hunters.
And gatherers.
And gatherers, yeah, but we're talking about, well, no, actually, definitely more gatherers. I read that actually women provide, that's very interesting. I don't know if many people know that women used to provide a lot more food than men, like in the house. Mm-hmm. But when women get pregnant, then the man needs to kind of step up and, get out of the couch and say like, okay, now it's your turn to provide more because now I'm pregnant. Something like that, like a long time ago when they were hunter and gatherers. But yeah.
On the couch, the tree.
Yeah, I can imagine them like in a cave and, okay, so I provide, a lot of years the food, now is your time, you lazy asshole, go and bring the food. Not only go and have fun with your friends hunting deers and stuff like that. I don't know, but I think if I think in a future, I see more of synthetic food. I see a lot more of supplements and vitamins and more like design food. I don't know, and it doesn't look attractive, but I think could be like I don't know. I just visualize it more like people going for a burger that tastes like burger, but it turns out that it's completely plants. And it's industrialized, and it's like a big companies doing industry and profiting from this. Just instead of selling meat, they just sell this paste. I don't know.
I don't know. I really see like the whole fake meat industry is sort of, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know, maybe I'm just basing it off of my own taste and experience, but like it's just this in-between place where, it's everyone who we, as a large society of the world, have been more accustomed to eating meat, and really I guess I just will speak for this country because it is so different everywhere, and I know this country alone, like the meat consumption is huge and very different from a lot of other places where maybe it doesn't have the same impact. But anyway, that it's people, their tastes are like they want it, they miss it. And again, food is life, and we, it's so much about our memories and experiences. So people want those same tastes, and they want to go to the barbecue and have the hamburger or whatever it is. But that in time, like just realizing that those, like the fake versions or whatever, they're kind of just not as interesting. Like it's actually just better to eat something else that tastes delicious, and it doesn't even have to be a fake meat, in my opinion. That's kind of been my experience, like getting these different veggie burgers or something, and like in the end I thought, I think I just like sauteing a big old hunk of squash and eating it like a burger or something. It's just, it tastes real, and I know what I'm eating, and it isn't this mystery food. And I don't want to discount that industry, because I do think it will be helpful to, it's like another part of getting everyone like on board for, I mean, we do, I think it is very important that we do have to consider the meat consumption for our planet, because the amount of forest being chopped down to raise the cattle and all the extra energy to feed these animals, and if we just ate like that grain from the beginning or the vegetable from the beginning versus having to grow it all and send it to where the animals are and feed the animals for all this time, all this grain, water these animals all this time, and then we have all of their manure and all of their gas emissions, and it's just this very heavy energy requiring process, and on a large scale it's not realistic for if we want a better future. I mean, it's just one part. I'm not trying to say that's the only thing at all, but like it's one important part we need to consider. And and I do feel, again, like for places and people where it's an easier option, like I think those are people that should be considering it. I know not everyone has the luxury of having a lot of different protein options and a variety of vegetables and or even access to a lot of fresh food. It can be so different for different areas. But anyway, I feel like if we have the availability and we can, it's something to consider and not to
And how is your diet? I was thinking about that. What do you eat in a normal day? Like seeds and vegetables all day?
Sometimes that, but I mean, start with oatmeal and raisins and some maybe seed or nut in there, or maybe I have avocado tacos, or maybe I have rice with, I don't know, some mushrooms or something. I mean, I do eat maybe what people don't consider breakfast for breakfast sometimes. And my lunch, maybe, maybe I have, some kind of stir-fry-ish thing, with rice or beans or, tortillas or, I'm not as much a bread person myself, but that's a nice option. But yeah, I know there's a lot of even vegetables that are high water users, and that's something to consider too. Comparing them to meat, I think avocados are, it would be interesting to compare, but I know that they're a lot less, but it would be interesting to note. But yeah, mushrooms, avocados, tofu sometimes, beans, lentils, those are kind of and seeds are kind of the main, protein source.
Is it difficult to go out with your friends and maybe, or all your friends are vegan or vegetarian, or how is
no, they aren't. It's becoming easier, I'd say. It seems like I'd say it's becoming easier. It was interesting, being in Europe last year, which I did not eat any meat while I was there, but I did eat, dairy things while I was there. I'm trying to remember if I did eat meat with a Latvian family. Anyways, I kind of made the plan I would just, eat what I was given and, serve with the families I was staying with, doing the workaways and things. But it seemed a little bit more difficult, during my travels. But I don't know. Now I'm kind of.
What about that? What is wrong with drinking milk or making cheese? Do you think it's wrong?
Well, I can't say that I have researched it in heavy detail, but just from my learnings about one, just how they're keeping the cows, like the dairy cows live very yucky lives, just sort of, at least here, most of them. And then there's pasture raised, and that is better, but it in confined spaces, being milked so much that they are experiencing injury, babies killed and removed from the parents, and just those are kind of the main things, but those alone are enough for me to think I don't want some being to have to live through all of that just so I can have some milk or cheese. You know?
But all those decisions are based on what you consider good or bad, or what we consider good or bad. Like, why we put ourselves in such a high standard? Like, I don't see a lion thinking of the moral ground of eating a gazelle.
Well, we actually have no idea what the lion is thinking.
You think that it's super sad and depressed, like, oh my God, I don't want to kill her, but she's so delicious.
We have no idea. I just want to put that out. I really don't know. But I think that, one, there's lots of vegetarian creatures in the world. We wouldn't be the only one.
We are not vegetarian.
Huh?
But we haven't evolved to be vegetarian. We evolved to be omnivorous, to eat basically everything that comes across our plate.
Yes, it's true. We have evolved that way, and but it's true. We have evolved that way, but I feel like we also have a consciousness and or maybe I just want to say conscience, and we have the ability to decide if something is, okay or not okay, and like, well, everyone is different. I know that, and I don't really want to judge another human's brain and how they, go about living, because again, the food is the life, but to me, it's like I don't have to eat those things to live very healthy and enjoy life, so I do it. And if it wasn't like a whole industrialized situation where people killed a wild animal when they needed more food, I think that is a very different thing. But like creating these mass, what is the word? I mean, just these mass places to grow animals for killing them for our food. It's a completely different thing. It's not like there was just they didn't evolve that way to have that kind of life.
But we kind of, like, our evolution give us our brain, just like the panther has claws, and like our brain is part of our development to evolve and eventually like kind of dominate the world. And if our brain, our collective brain, is telling us create these places to get more food, aren't we follow our instinct as animals?
But I think it's not about create these places for more food. It's create these places for more money. And then it's just been turned around and around, and then like the governments, like the politicians, getting money from these industries also, and then supporting the industries, and then like creating their own science around that we need this to be healthy, and then it creates a whole culture around it. And I think it's all been manufactured in a way, like not
but
us.
Yet again, the desire of money is part of how our brain is connected, how our society evolved.
Well, greed doesn't serve us. I mean, okay, you could say that it keeps us alive if we were in lack and I don't know. I'm not sure what I want to say about that. If we wouldn't
have all these, how we could have survived? Like if we don't have like this overproduction, do you think that we could survive when we have like a worse pandemic where people cannot like grow anything? Like having these reserves are not like an insurance for our species?
You mean like having the reserves of the animals? Not a, I would
The animals and all this, because it's not only like, I don't think it's only meat. Like, we overproduce food in some countries, and in others there is no food at all. So all these countries, I don't know if, like, in normal conditions you can say, we have all these and it's useless, or like it's just like the greed of people. But then when we are seeing this pandemic, when a lot of people cannot travel or stuff like that, having this stock of food, it turns out that could be very valuable, don't you think?
Oh, I mean, I guess you could say that, and yeah, but if I don't know, you could also say a lot of different things, and if we as communities were more reliant on our smaller area for food, and I mean, just as far as like other places in the world where like, I don't know, I'm thinking even of Puerto Rico, and like they're kind of under these industries to grow certain foods. Then they have a disaster, the certain foods that they're exporting, and then they have to import their own like regular grocery foods, so things are expensive for them to begin with. But then a catastrophe happens in a weather event, and then they have no food because they have maybe sorry, getting lost again in my thoughts, but just they don't have what they need to survive because they're under the industry's grip to do what they would like them to. And here people are growing zillions of acres of corn, but in a catastrophe where we couldn't get food moved around, that alone, and a lot of that is probably for animal feed, but that alone is not going to keep them healthy. Like, we need to be more small scale, I think, on everything, and more just resilient in our smaller communities. Like, we and again, it's the money and power that's kind of getting in the way of people having control of their own communities. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you would like, for example, to have to grow different kind of plants in areas, like, I don't know, if in Oregon, to have not only one type of food, but like different, so they can be sustainable in that area, and doing that in each state and in each part of the world.
Yeah, I think if everywhere could be growing a mix of things, that would be for the benefit. I mean, I think we would be more resilient that way. And then if a major pandemic or some other catastrophe is happening, we have supplies within our own area for people to utilize.
But do you think that is efficient, or do you think that all the earth can grow all type of vegetables and fruits and stuff? I mean, I guess the weather influence if something can grow or not, right?
Yeah, and I mean, in some places that they wouldn't be able to grow everything, but I think in some of those places, I'm just thinking of like some of the really hot places, maybe in Africa or something, but learning about some of the native plants and things that do live in those environments, and utilizing those for food too. And I mean, I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head at the moment, but just, the importance of using what's relevant to an area, and And
Yeah.
if we be growing food in an area, I mean, that's not really livable land.
Yeah. I remember I was with a friend in Denmark, and they weren't trying to grow different kind of food, and they were saying, it would be very nice if only we consume local, and we live about everything that Denmark produce. And then one of them says, like, but we don't produce avocado. And the person said, oh no, I like avocado. Like, I need my avocado. So, okay, forget about this idea. If we cannot produce avocado, then the system, the way it is, it's okay. Bring the avocado from Latin America or stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I don't know if consuming local and having this kind of production will make us miss other stuff. The thing is that it's funny because I see, for example, many people that believe in this idea of being local, from one point are, for example, supporters or they are against, for example, Donald Trump. But it turns out that Donald Trump has the idea that politically they should be divided. They should be like everything for United States in United States. So it closed borders, so it's less globalized. And this political idea of less globalized is very similar to the idea of let's just consume our local products. And I don't know if that will be the future. I think in the future, like if we want to evolve like hundreds of years from now, we need to become one unity. Like we need to see the world as one thing. Mm-hmm. If we think on consuming local, and if we thinking our problems are only our problems, for example, it's not like the idea of consuming local, but this idea of division between the world, like seeing the world like not like as a unity, but like at different sectors. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's going to be the future. Like if we want to reach the stars, if we want to do like great things as humanity, we should stop seeing ourselves. I don't know if in 1,000 years from now nations will still exist. Like I love my country, but I hope not. I hope we can see each other as, like you are human. You are not American or Polish, or you are just human. And in order to do that, I think those ideas, which I don't know, maybe I'm just going super crazy with this idea.
I mean, I kind of see what you're saying, and yeah, I do see where you're trying to draw a comparison, but I think I agree with you that we are so much more connected than we ever were with people around the world, and we rely on each other for all kinds, like everything that we use in our lives, from food to clothes to materials to build our homes and things, that it's it really is a global we rely on everyone, and I think that there is benefit in having connection, and there is benefit in that. I think it is so difficult though, because it's not really just like people saying, to the group of people in that town over there, we really appreciate this wood that you have. Would you send it to us here? We could really use it for building our home here. It's, these companies that come in and sort of, or I think in a way, stealing resources and from food to materials, and they make a lot of money, and maybe they supply jobs to people, but it's often not very livable wages, and really it's just kind of stealing from other lands. And so if it was done with more like honesty and respect, I think it could be something else. But again, I think it isn't as so black and white as we only have local or we only are like a globalized world, that it's a mix, and that we haven't enough going on in our own areas, that in emergencies we are okay, and on the main part of life we are doing what we need to in our own little areas, but that it's useful and helpful and enjoyable to have things from around the world, but that's not like our main source, and that we use those sparingly and like with respect.
Do you think globalization is good or is bad?
Well, I think it's inevitable, and I do think I would be interested in hearing an exact definition of the term again, but
yeah, it has so many variations, right? What globalization means is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it could mean a lot of things, but as far as being connected to people around the world, I think is a positive thing, and really like the climate crisis is maybe the main huge current example that is everyone will be facing. Okay, the virus now too, but that we have to like utilize everyone, and the only way it can we have a success with fighting climate change, or just slowing the process down, whatever, not leaping into catastrophe, is by working together and around the world, helping each other and working on this together. So I think it's a good thing, because I think it's necessary for our future.
Yeah. The thing is that for me it's funny. Like when I was studying, there were so many people against globalization when I was doing like my bachelor's degree, and they were saying about this idea of our culture is going to disappear, stuff like that. Then many people were on board with globalization, and now I see this comeback of like when they say, for example, this cultural appropriation, that kind of things. It resonates very interesting to me, because it sometimes it's like how can I say, like if there were two categories, there were people that two categories with different, I don't know, like variables in each category, and I see like a person that is like, okay, I'm in this, I'm in this category, but in this, I'm in this category, and it's like no, like you cannot say, for example, that you are against, let's just say, globalization, for example, but that you think that the internet is a very good system. Like if you agree that we shouldn't be one unity in the world, then you should agree that, for example, each country should have their own internet, for example, or everybody had to grow their own food. Like it's just like sometimes like picking the ideas that they like the most, and sometimes they are so interconnected that it's difficult to take them out. And I see sometimes these people that want to have like this come back to the old days. It's funny because there are some people that want to go back to the old days because they are pro-environment, and there are some people that want to go back to the old days because because they are kind of have the same mentality that Donald Trump, that the past was better. And they want culturally live in the past. And, it's a little bit, it's very confusing because kind of I vote for the idea of becoming a unity, and for doing that there are some stuff that we need to understand that may happen, like maybe countries will disappear, or maybe like stuff like that, like, and I don't think we can reach it if we don't go all on board, even with global warming. Like if all of us, and you can see it with the vaccines right now, like everybody was like, I'm going to create the vaccine, and another country, I'm going to create it, instead of all of us working together. Instead of all of us working together, it's just like, no, each of us, let's just see who wins. And it's the same mentality, and it's the same mentality of nationalism, and the same mentality of against globalization. Globalization, it has a lot of mistakes, but sometimes I believe that those mistakes are just steps that you need to pass, and some steps suck, but you need to kind of do it to reach the top. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you, and I mean, I definitely see what you're saying, and I think the more we can just live respectfully and compassionately and sort of foster those values in our culture, that what we do around the world will be done in the less harmful ways, and like the companies and corporations and industry had less power, and it was more about people to people, I think a lot of those issues would be solved. But I mean, I know it's we aren't really going to get rid of those either. There is the ability to limit their power through our government. But it's part of the struggle, and there's always going to be the whole gamut of personalities around the world, and some with more greed and power hungry, and some that are respectful and compassionate, and I guess that's our fate to live that out.
Let's see how it's going to be the future. Let's see. Anyway, today, I don't know what is your schedule, but probably you need to do stuff, I guess. We have been talking for 1 hour. For me, like, I have nothing else to do, but probably you actually have a life, so probably you need to do stuff.
It's coronavirus time. Not doing too much over here either. But I guess
it's a bless and a curse, right? Like, it's like, oh, I have so much time, and then it's like, oh shit, I have so much time. Like,
Yep.
At the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm going to study this, I'm going to do that, and it's like, okay, I did it. Now what? It's like, now you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait. Yeah.
Yes, there's lots more studying I would like to do. It's been very family-esque over here with my little nephew, and I guess I've been quite involved in the garden, and I'm feeling like at the beginning of this I was thinking I would study all these things, and I have hardly studied anything myself, but I'm hoping that part is still coming.
You know, I blame Netflix, it's just so convenient. It's like, okay, I study or I just watch a full TV series from beginning to end. And usually the TV series wins most of the time. Very productive. Very productive. Anyway, any plans to coming back to Europe?
Oh, Yeah, not anytime soon, unfortunately. I mean, I would love it, and it would be wonderful to visit, the lovely people and places I met the first time, but, just so much more to see. But, yes, until I can do it with less guilty conscience, trying to get there, yeah, not too soon, probably.
Okay, well, it seems that I'm stuck here, so if you come, probably I will be around Europe, most likely.
Well,
maybe still in Turkey.
Maybe still in Turkey.
Which at the beginning was like, yeah, more time in Turkey. And now it's just like, yeah, more time in Turkey.
Maybe, well, yeah, I was going to say you should start a telenovela over there.
Yeah, maybe that could be the future.
Your side work and your telenovela.
Yeah. They're not, supposedly there are like around 20 Mexicans in Turkey. Like in whole Turkey. 20, yeah. So,
did you meet any of them?
No, not yet. But I have pretty good chances of becoming like the Mexican in the telenovelas. It's like,
there you go. Leading role.
Leading role, yeah. Anyway, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I know that we went to many places, from Greta to global warming to food. The food thing is very interesting, actually. I'm very interested. I think I hope one day have the will to become, I don't think vegan, but maybe vegetarian. It could be good. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's hard. It looks very hard.
Just go eat some animals. That's actually, I mean, if you really want to, I feel it really is a good way, because I actually, so I told you, I was like thinking all about, should I, and it was years that I was sort of going back and forth and coming up with new theories of if I can't kill the animal, and then I decided, well, all things are living, even plants, so why is an animal more important than a plant? I should eat everything. And then I got baby chickens to raise. Well, we hatched eggs, and we were going to just raise the chickens for eggs. And I was thinking, sure, this will be fun. And then I completely fell in love with these chickens, and I just was amazed at how smart and cute and sweet they were. And I mean, maybe I'm putting my own view on them, but I mean, they really seem that way to me. And I even would be able to hug these chickens, some of them, and I told them I would never eat another chicken. I would just only kiss a chicken. And
I can imagine you looking the kitchen into the eyes saying, I will never eat you. Don't worry, you're safe with me.
Haven't happened. And then I was just not eating chicken, but I was still eating other meat. And then,
so you need to meet each animal personally, so you get detached from the flavor and attached from the emotion.
Yeah, I feel it's, I mean, if you really want to, I feel the emotional connection is an important thing. And yeah, and then I was on a trip, and I was seeing, my family throw away some meat that, like some cow meat that, because, well, they didn't have time to eat it. I wasn't eating meat, but, and they didn't have time to eat it, and this meat went into the garbage. It was in its package, still fresh, and into the garbage, because today is the day we leave, and it just made me cry, and just kind of another revelation is like, this animal lived its entire life to be killed for human consumption. Now it just got thrown away, and so much food is thrown away, including meat. And I just thought that is just the saddest thing ever. I cannot, like, that just really glued it into my head. I cannot participate.
Yeah. Yeah, then
So,
don't come to Turkey because everybody eat meat. Actually, less than a month ago, there was this big event that lasts for 4 days it's like a celebration called Sacrifice. I think that's the translation. And basically it's killing all the goats and eating them. And not many people can resist seeing the goat. The thing is that you have a good heart. I just see a cow and it's like, yeah, probably you would be delicious in a burger.
But you didn't really know it. I mean, I saw a ton of animals in my life before, but didn't have that. It really was once I got to like have a relationship, like a long-term kind of see it every day and see what they do and see how they take baths and how they eat and what their favorite foods. And it's like, wow, this creature is so amazing. And why would I eat my chicken when I would never eat my dog? And that's exactly And
I heard that pigs are a lot more smarter than most animals.
And, which are? Chicken?
The pigs, and that they actually know. I read that in a book, but then in a documentary, it was a documentary about something completely different. But they were going to have they were going to kill a lot of pigs, and the guy that was going to kill them, it was telling to the journalist, you can see in their eyes that they know what is going to happen. Like they know that we are going to kill all of them. That was a little bit hard when he was saying that. It's like, damn, it's sad. If he's so smart as the article said, imagine that you are just like trapped and it's like, okay, so I'm going to die today. Like we are definitely the villains in this story.
Yeah, I mean, I know people see it so different, and and some people do it with a ton of respect, and they really do see it that way. That just really be respectful and thankful for the animal, and they can still do it. And I mean, everybody's different, and so it's hard to say, but we know it can make an impact on the climate, so if it helps in that way too, at least reducing it. But
let's hope I can become vegetarian one day. Not today, but maybe one day.
Come here and I shall show you some good recipes.
Yeah, that would be actually nice. Yeah, like a good recipe can save you from eating an animal. But on the other hand, like I see all the animals, like, like if I don't eat it, somebody else will. So maybe I will.
But not just eat it. Every time you don't eat one, it's being replaced less. So, and then you may have an impact on other people too that are thinking about it, and then less and less animals eaten.
Wise words from Jessica. Maybe I will try that.
Okay, Juan, you can do it.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking the time. And let's just talk another day. Another day, it will be really nice. It's you're a very wise person. I would really love to talk with you about all this. How was your journey with the plants and with this traditional plants and all that? It's very interesting for me that too. So we should do this again.
That sounds fun, and it's very nice talking with you also, and hearing your thoughts and your good challenges.
Okay, so bye. Thank you very much for everything. You too. What time is there right now? Here it's like
11 p.m.
11
a.m.
p.m. AM.
A.m. morning.
You're starting your day.
Oh, okay, it's going already.
I'm finishing my day. So, just another 5 or 6 episodes of a TV series Netflix, and then I go to bed. With a lot of healthy food, like chips and soda. Very healthy.
Oh, no.
Anyway, thank you very much. And I'm going to finish the recording now. Okay, so this has been all for today. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and maybe make you think about global warming and the different problems that we face, and maybe becoming vegan. I don't know, maybe I will do it. Remember that in all my social media, in my Patreon, in Buy Me a Coffee, in all of them we are like Juan Around. So you can find me that way. Also, you can find more content about traveling, some tips and tricks about how to travel, some articles about local cultures that I've been seeing through my trips, and also some articles about global problems in my page, juanaround.art.blog. And you know the drill, share, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And well, see you around.